Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. We're going to be continuing our playthrough of the game B-17 Flying Fortress Leader from Dan Verssen Games, designed by Dean Brown. And this is part 3. So if you did not watch parts 1 or 2, you probably would want to do that just so that you are caught up on the situation. So we are playing the Combined Bomber Operations campaign, which is this one right here. So this runs from June of 43 to September of 43, and this basically is well, you're in command of the U.S. forces, the U.S. Army Air Force forces in England, but this one brings in the potential to have damage from RAF night bombing missions here in the special rules, which we have not used yet, but I am going to use it on this week. This is the third week of 4 for the month of June of 43. So just to kind of quickly make one correction, in the previous video, in part 2, I destroyed an airfield and I removed supply, which only takes place when you destroy a factory. So I put it back. It was a 4 supply. The benefit of attacking aircraft factories is that you get to remove this, and it means less German reinforcements in the next go round. So right now we have they always have a base of 3, and if I destroy no more factories, they'd have 3, 5, 9, 13 potential squadrons for the next month, which would be July. They also get to build a factory next month, and you can see that up here because I did destroy one, and when you destroy one, you have to replace it. So we replaced it. Well, we didn't replace it yet. Let me clarify. I just put a build marker here to indicate that we will be replacing it. So as we start week 3, I had 43 SOs. I came into the week with 18 that I held from last week, and we get 25 per week. SO points, of course, are special option points if you're unfamiliar with that. And as I said, you can watch parts 1 and 2 to get a little bit better feel for what is going on in the game in terms of things like SO points. So here we have the card for a B-24D that I purchased. It is Lil Abner, was a comic book character, if you're unfamiliar. This is the 44th Bomb Group. So in this game, you always have an aircraft name that was a representative of that particular squadron. So as you can see, this one costs us 16 SO points. So that will leave me with 27. It's available from 1942 on. The aircraft type is a B-24D, as I mentioned. It's green, because that's what you get when you purchase a new unit, is green experience. But it only needs 3 to promote. So from 0 to 6 damage points, it remains okay. The speed is slow. It gets a +1 die roll modifier on air-to-air combat and a +0 air-to-ground, so when it's bombing. Its formation rating is 7 or higher. Its range is 8. Durability is 0. That's a die roll modifier for when you're being attacked by the Germans. And the tonnage it can carry is 8. So you'll see more of that as we play. But again, I would suggest watching the first 2 videos to see that if you would like to see what's going on there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we have our sequence of play, which I did not show in previous videos, but this comes as a card with the game. The back side has some information on how you run bandit attacks and on other things from the game. So this is a good player aid card that comes with the game. So we are at week start. I did receive my points. I don't have any adjustments right now. I purchased a new group. I did not purchase any commanders or recon assets. I have a recon asset, and I have some commanders that were purchased in previous turns. First thing we'll do is run our intelligence, so our recon mission. That's just a single die roll, and I'll do that in a moment. And then it goes through all the different steps all the way through the end of the week, and then your monthly end of the month, which comes up in, we're like halfway through the month. We've completed 2 weeks, 2 weeks to go. Here's the counter for our recon. So an 8+ gives us high. If we already had a medium, we would get a +2 die roll modifier on that roll. 4 to 7 is medium, anything under a 4. So 3, 2, 1 is low. Intel, which is the default level. So we are going to fly that against this factory right here. So this will be our primary target. It is an aircraft factory in Villacoublay, France, Hex 9, which is a range of 2. It is here. So right now we can actually get to that. If the German response is average or poor, none of these other adjacent units would be able to attack us, but that seems unlikely because you have to roll a 3, 2, or a 1 for that to happen. But this is going to be the target that we're going to use our recon against. So we are going to roll our die here. And we get a 6, and a 6 is medium. So we will put a medium on here, which just means no adjustments. As you can see here, we get no die roll modifier for air to ground and no adjustment to flak. Now, talking about this target that I just held up, this is, we can fly 4 bombers against it. It requires 13 damage to destroy. 4 will make it light damage, 7 will make it medium, 9 will make it heavy, and 13 destroys it. We do get a +2 die roll modifier on our attack. Its repair number is 8+. It is not dispersed, so that is good. This is also an incendiary target, so if we use incendiary ammunition, we can get we can set it on fire. No additional Luftwaffe response beyond what the German commander gives us. And then it's got 2 flak rolls and a 5 for 1 point and 9 for 2 points of damage. So that is our target. Now the other thing we can do, as our special rule indicates, right here, run missions as usual. For 2 targets of your choice prior to executing a mission, you can roll a 1d10 and apply that amount of damage to the target. This simulates previous damage done by the RAF. So we're going to do that and say that the RAF bombed this factory, and let's see what we get. 4 points of damage. So we simply take a 4-point damage counter, like this one, and we apply it to the target. So now we only need to get 9 more points of damage to actually destroy that target. And we will also take a secondary target this week as well. Our secondary mission here is Transportation 2. We drew 5 transportation targets. We've already destroyed 1. If we destroy 10 transportation victory points, we get a success, which will lower their factory output by -4 and give us a +3 to our theater of choice modifier. The theaters are Mediterranean and the Eastern Front, the USSR front. For this one, we already have destroyed 3 victory points. So we will take a relatively easy one, and that will be this guy right here. It is in Angers, France, Hex 9, which is the same as our primary target, actually. We can send 3 bombers against it, and it only takes 8 to destroy. It does have a -1 air to ground because it's a bridge. So bridges were, of course, a little bit harder to knock out than other targets. So we're going to put that there, and that will be that, and we'll move on to the next step, which is we've selected our targets. Now we will assign our groups to each mission. So I have run some missions, and I have some bomb groups that have some damage, one of which is the 379th, the bomb group. It is a B-17G. It currently has 4 points of damage, so I'm going to actually rest this guy. These guys will get a break this week since we just picked up a new group. I'm also going to let the Memphis Bells group, the 91st bomb group, which has 3 damage, they can also sit this one out. And we're going to send a brand new 44th will be our lead group. So I'm just going to put that here because this will be the first mission we'll run. We will send our fighter group up as a high escort. Since this is only 2 away, they can escort all the way to the target and back. Then we also would we'll have the 385th second. That is a B-17. And our third one, we will use Hitler's Hearse as our third group. So we are sending 3 bombers against this. The max we could send is 4, but we're only going to send 3. For our secondary target, we will be sending the 322nd and the 321st. And we'll have to roll to see what the low intel gives that. There is a table in the book for low intel, or you can use this I used this the last time, but I rolled against that. So that would just be one additional flak die. But there are other effects. You have a -1 here as well. And then on the other side, a -2. So you roll for it and put the appropriate one, which I forgot to do. That was another thing I messed up in the previous video. Okay, so we have done that, and we are now ready to arm our bombers. Okay, so our primary target is susceptible to incendiaries. So we will use some incendiaries, and this is an incendiary bomb. It is the M50A1. The red box with the eye in it indicates it is an incendiary. Needs a 7 to hit, and it has 2 weight, meaning that our B-17 could carry 3 of them, or the B-24 could carry 4. And the 0 in the blue box indicates that it does not actually cost us any SO points to buy this particular bomb. So we will put 2 of these on Hitler's hearse, and 2 of them on Lil Abner, which is half of each of them's capacity. And then we will use one M34, which is this guy right here, because this one is an easy one to hit with that costs 3 SOs. So I'm going to put one of those each on the B-24s, which will cost us an additional 6 beyond the 10 that we paid for the Lil Abner group, the 44th. And for our B-17 that is on this mission as well, the Grim Reaper, they are going to simply carry 3 M30s, which are actually free as well. Actually, no, they will not. We'll give them 2 of these and an M43 and hope that this will be good enough to get us enough hits to destroy the target. So for that, we spend an additional SO point. So we have spent a total of 7 SO points, or 23 so far this turn. Okay, for Commander Tactics, LeMay is on this mission. He has a suppress tactic, which will put a -2 defense on any bandits that we might encounter. So we have that in hand, as well as he gives a +2 formation too as well. So, and Hitler's hearse, Alkire does not have any tactics, but he does give us a -1 on the flak defense roll. Now we will roll for our Luftwaffe response. So let's see what they get. They get a 7, which is not great. That is a high response. So here's our commander card. You can see 4 to 7 is high. That means the max that we can face in one encounter is 5 bandits, but it is 1 range. So that does mean that this guy and this guy will be eligible here, and these 2 will be eligible here. So would this one, but if he engages here, he would not be able to engage when we go there. So we're going to mark our path and our target. So this would be our first, and that would be our second. That's our target. And we need our bombers here in the UK base. We draw our target bound card. Combined bomber operations add +4 damage points to the target. Well, look at that. That actually gives us 8 now. So we only need 5 to destroy the target, which is great. That's fantastic. All right. So now we'll move to our first one, and we have to draw our Luftwaffe squadrons. There are 2, so we draw 2 chits out of the cup. The first one is a BF-110. Okay, and it gets flipped to its other side because it is not in its primary hex. It is adjacent. So that would be from this guy right here. And it gets 2 turns. So let me just put that there. Then our other one is an 88. And because it's from an adjacent hex, I don't think it can actually engage. So in essence, it becomes a no bandit. So we're going to have this engage with our escort. So the escort is slow. The bandit would attack first. The escort does get a +4 air-to-air die roll, which is good. The defense on the BF-110 is a -1, which means it adds 1. So they're actually going to get a +5 when they get to attack. It needs an 8 for 1 hit, a 9 for 2 hits, or a 10 for 3 hits. So we will, and it has 2 turns that it can use. So I will just put this out real quick to show that it is on its first turn. We'll roll. It gets a 4, which is a miss. So now we'll roll for the fighter escort's attack On the first turn, it gets a 2, which is also nothing. The +5 makes it a 7. You need a 10 to shoot down a bandit. Now we would go to turn 2. And we'll roll for the 110 again. It gets a 5, which is nothing. And now our escort rolls a 6, which +5 is 11. This bandit has been destroyed. And we move that to 2. That is an extra XP for the fighter group. And we can now move to our next hex. These guys get turned over and put on 3, but since we already moved, I'm just going to put them on 2. So now we're here and we draw 2 more. So we'll start up here again and then that one. I'm going to pull both, but the first chit I look at will be for this one and the second for that one. So this time we get another 110. This one is equipped with rockets, and rockets are a tactic that our commander has, so we can actually use it. Again, they're from an adjacent hex. So they do get 2 turns. They will go here. Move this off. Our second one is a Focke-Wulf 190, also from an adjacent. So it goes like that. It is a 1. So we'll put that here. And so they will engage with the escort, and they will engage. We'll roll to see which bomber they engage, which bomber group. So we will do this one first. Now they have rockets, and so for rockets, we get to roll on that. So in this case, because these are being engaged by our escort, they can't use their rockets. So typically the way that would work is you roll 2 dice. If it's a 7 or higher, each one that's a 7 or higher would be one bomber destroyed if they were attacking the bombers. Since they were first and they're engaging the escort, they don't get to use their rockets because they're attacking fighters, and the fighters are much more maneuverable than bombers who are flying in a formation in the combat box. So we'll roll here for our first turn of combat between the 110 and the escort. So the 110 will go first. And it's a 6, which is a miss. Now the escort will attack. Again, they have a +5. They get a 4, +5 is 9, so that is not a hit or not destroyed. Then we will replace that with this guy for turn 2. And we'll do this again. And it's a 6 again for the fighter. The 110, that's nothing. And an 8 for the fighter group, +5 is 13. That does destroy this squadron as well. And now we're back to 1 for this guy who only has 1 turn. We're going to roll to see which bomb group he attacks. A 5. So we look at this box. A 5 to 7 is the second group. So he's attacking the 305th. And the 305th is the Grim Reaper. So LeMay will play his suppress tactic. So we're going to put that in here as well. Just stick that up top here because he's attacking that one. So that will apply on when we attack them. It's going to suppress their defense, which is a 1. So they would add 1 to the die roll. That's now going to become a -2. I'm sorry, they would subtract 1 from the die roll based on their 1. But now it's going to actually add 2. It's going to make their defense a -1 instead of a 1. And then we will be adding 1 additional to our attack rating for this group, which air-to-air wise is a 2. Now they get a -1 on their die roll because of the durability rating of the B-17. So they only rolled a 2, so that is not a hit. Now we will attack the fighter. And so with that, we have a +2 from the group, and they get an additional +1 because of the suppress. That gives us a +3. Actually, that I was doing that wrong. It's on the bandit attack, so this applies to the bandit attack. So we've already used it. Bandit rolled a 2 anyway, but yeah, so that's no effect. So we need an 8 to destroy this one because we have a +2 air-to-air, and we get a 3. So this bandit RTBs. He lives to fight another day. Actually, I forgot to remove this guy. Does he get removed? No, they don't get removed. So that now turns to a 1. This is a 3. Well, that actually stays a 2 for the moment. This is a 3. This is a 2. And now we do our over target. So they get 2 flak rolls. We will start with the 44th. So they are going to be firing at the 44th. 44th does not have any durability. There is no die roll modifiers here. So they need a 5 for 1 hit and a 9 for 2 hits. And they get a 10. So that is 2 hits. So we're going to stick a 2 damage marker. The 44th. That's their first roll. And they get a second. And they get a 2 the second time. So that is no hit. Now the 44th gets to drop its bombs. We have 2 M50A1s. They hit on a 7. We get a +2 from the target. So we need a 5 or higher to hit. So we're going to roll 2 of those, and then I'll roll for the M34 after that. So a 7 would be 1 hit. And a 3 would be a miss. So 1 hit, and that hit is also with an incendiary. So they do get that, and this becomes a 9. Now we'll roll the M34, and with the +2, we're going to automatically get 1 hit. A 3 would give us 2 hits, a 5 would give us 3 hits, and a 7 would give us 4 hits. And we hit a 6, and a 6 becomes 3 hits, and 3 hits, it makes this a 12. So they're at 10 plus 2. So we only need to do one more damage with our second bomber. And our second bomber is the 305th, which is the Grim Reaper. The 305th is the B-17 group. So they also have incendiaries. So we'll roll those first. They still also get the +2. And their air to ground is a 0, so it's just a straight +2. They rolled a 9. That is a hit. That is 13. That destroys the target. So this target has been destroyed. The target's been destroyed. We don't need to drop the other bombs. There is no overkill on this target. We do have that on the secondary, so we'll see that perhaps. But this target has been destroyed. It's going to give us 2 victory points. It also removes this 2 supply counter. I'll just slide these down. So they're down to 11 now with these 2 4s and the 1 3. The 3 is automatic. They always get that. We'll draw our homebound event card. Bonus SO points. If the target was destroyed, gain SO points equal to the target's victory points. So we're going to pick up 2 extra SO points. So that's nice. So we're going to move back here, which would make this 2 and this 2 and these 1. And then we'll go back to the base, and these will all flip back over to their regular side. As part of our mission debriefing, we need a second build counter here because we've destroyed 2 factories. But we have the Hitler's Hearse group here, the 389th, reached 6 experience points, so they get promoted to veteran. They'll now need 7 to promote. They're also eligible for reassignment. That happens at the end of the month. But they now can take up to 7 damage and remain okay, and their speed has changed to fast. Plus their air-to-air improved from 3 to 4 on the positive side, and their air-to-ground improved from 0 to 1. So this is a sweet, and their formation roll dropped to a 4, so that gives them a very good chance of avoiding being dispersed, which we actually haven't had happen yet, but it is possible, of course. Range is 8, and the tonnage remains 8. Those 2 did not change. The durability did not change. So now we're going to fly our secondary mission. So that is here. This is a second transportation target. It will be being attacked by the 322nd, which will be the second group, and the 321st, which will be the lead group. There will be no escort. It is attacking this hex right here, so it will fly the same route from here. So we will be arming our bombers here. Now I did gain 2 SOs back, so I have a little bit in the can if I want to spend it. These aircraft don't really have very high tonnage tonnage abilities, capacity, I guess would be the best way to say that. The 322nd is a B-26B group with a capacity of 4, or a tonnage of 4. And the 321st is a B-25 group, B-25C group, with a tonnage of 4. So we will be, let's see, we are going to, well, if I can destroy the target, both of these may get promoted from, well, 322nd's a recruit, it would get promoted to green, and the 321st is green and could get, theoretically, if we can destroy this, get promoted to average. But let's worry about that later. So we need to decide what bombs we will carry. So we need 8 to destroy this, and it does have a -1 on it. Does not have any dispersed or anything like that. So it's not really to our benefit to arm our bombers with the M30. The M34 does plenty of damage, but it would only give us one bomb each. You know what? I'm going to do it. This is going to be dicey because we're going to be rolling a -2 on our air-to-ground attacks. But we need to roll big numbers, and we're not going to destroy this, but we'll take this. Unless we get lucky with an event or something. We're going to put one of these on each of our groups. We'll spend 6 SOs to do so. And this will be the only bomb each of them will be carrying. But with the -2 for our die rolls, we'll need a 5 for 1 hit, a 7 for 2, and a 9 for 3. So it is possible if we roll 9s or 10s to get up to 6 damage points, but that seems unlikely. But 6 damage points would be heavy damage. 5 is the threshold for heavy damage. So now we'll roll for our Luftwaffe. We don't have any commanders, so no tactics. We'll roll for our Luftwaffe response. And we get a 5, which again is high. So we will be facing these guys and these guys again. And now we'll draw our target bound event card, which is fighter miscommunication. Fighter escorts cannot meet up with bombers. Remove fighter group. We don't have a fighter group, so that event does not harm us. So that's good. It would have been better if it was another combined bomber operations that pre-damaged that for us. But, oh, I forgot to roll for the intel. So let's do that right now. We got a 9. A 9 gives us a -2 air to ground and a +1 flak. Yikes. So they get that and that. And this just became a whole lot harder. So this mission might end up being a disaster. This is going to be a rough one. We're going to go here. We will pull our 2 squadrons. We'll pull 11 first. And we get a Focke-Wulf again. A 190. Flip it to its adjacent side. And it gets 1 turn. So we're going to put this here, and we'll figure out who it attacks here in a moment. For our second one, we get a no bandit, so that helps a little bit. Now let's roll to see who this one attacks. 1 to 6 is the lead group, 7 to 10 is the second group. It is an 8, so it is the second group, which is the one I was hoping it wouldn't be attacking. But it only gets 1 turn. It does not have a tactic it can use, so I guess that's better than it could be. So we get 1 turn. They need a 6 for 1 hit, a 7 for 2, a 9 for 3. They get a 3, which is nothing. So now our bomber will fight back. This is the 321st, which gets a 322nd, which gets no modifier. It's just a +0. So he needs it to roll a natural 10. And gets a 7. So this guy gets to fight another day, but he does have to RTB, and that takes care of that. So then these guys would go to 3. And we move here. And now we have these 2 to deal with. So we do the same thing. We pull a chit. We get a flak gun. It doesn't say in the rules that you use it or don't use it. So I'm going to assume that if it's here, how can it attack here? That's like far away. So I'm going to throw it back in the cup. And we'll draw our second one out. and we get no bandit again. So that was lucky. Okay, so they've reached the target. These both go to 3. Not that it really matters. So now we'll roll for our flak here. So they get 3 flak rolls, and they hit on a 6 and 2 damage on a 9. So they'll hit the 321st first. A 4 is nothing. An 8 is 1 hit, and the third die 3. So they get 1 hit on the 321st. So the 321st had a 1 damage. Now it's 2. So 2 destroyed. Now the 322nd. Well, we'll do the 321st bomb run first. So we have a -3 plus a -1. So we have a -4 on our die roll. So we need a 7 or higher to hit, and we get a 6. So no hit for the 321st. And now we'll roll for the 322nd flak. 7 is 1 hit. 7 is another hit. And a 2. So they took 2 hits, so they go from 1 damage to 3 damage. Now they'll roll for their bomb run, and just as the other one, they'll need a 7 or higher to hit. They get a 9. That is 2 hits, so we do a little bit of damage. That is the threshold for light damage, so that actually works out. And we will now do our homebound event draw. Germans want revenge. Reroll Luftwaffe response. Add +3 to the Luftwaffe response roll. The problem with that is they're already high. Even if they went all out, none of these would be able to respond, so I'm not going to reroll. Because they can't, it doesn't have any impact that I can see. It doesn't say to reset these as being rearmed, so I'm going to assume they don't. So we're just going to go 1, 2 back to base. This will come off. These will reset. That mission, as I feared, did not turn out very well. And that ends our week. So this will go up here, maintaining its, we changed this in for a light damage. And it actually will go back to being a 2 anyway, so I might just leave this on here. I'm just going to leave it on there. Well, actually, we won't. Let's put light on there. I'm going to put that on there. It maintains its same intel. So we'll leave the intel markers that are on there again, and maybe I need to fly a recon mission against that target next time around when I want to attack it again. So they both gain 1 XP for that. The experience from that mission, which was only 1 because we didn't destroy the target, was enough to promote flak bait from recruit to green. You can see it's green. It needs 5 to promote to average. Its air-to-air is now +1. Its air-to-ground is still -1. A 0 to 4 is okay. It currently has 3 damage points, so it's getting close. As we look to complete this month, and then we would get replacement points where I could actually restore it. So I may send this out anyway, even though it runs the risk of taking a heavy -3 there, because I'm probably going to hit that same target, that same railroad bridge in week 4. But he does get promoted, so that is a benefit. It does have a durability of 1, which is nice. The other thing we do here at the end of the week is we add replenishment to rested groups. And we would also roll for any targets that had survived and been attacked in a previous week, which we don't have any of those. But for example, if our transportation target that we just hit, our bridge, we do not destroy it this next week, then it would be eligible for repair. But we did rest the 379th and the 91st, and they both lose 3 damage points, which will put the Memphis Belle back to being fully healthy. That's the 91st. And it will set the 379th, the Misbehaven, to a -1 instead of -4. So that was worth doing. And we are ready to move on to week number 4. On to week 4. We have a new bomb group we're adding. It is Scarlet, the 306th bomb group. It cost us 12 SO points, purchased at green for points needed for promotion. It is a +4 air-to-air, -1 air-to-ground on a 0 to 6 damage level. 7 to 9 would be shaken. It does have range of 6, tonnage, that's the formation, 7. Durability 1 because it is a B-17. We also purchased a second recon counter, so I can fly a recon mission on both targets each turn. That'll be useful. Because of what happened, I learned my lesson on the low there, rolling a 9 and getting nailed big time on that last turn. So we're going to try to do a little better here on this particular one. With that said, we are starting a new week. So I did, as I just showed you, I bought a new group and a recon that cost me a total of 16 SO points, leaving me with 25. I had 41 to begin the week. We will run our recon missions. I am going to be targeting this airfield in Germany, in Lingen, which is Hex 12. Right here, it is 2 away, which means I can bring my fighter group along with for the ride. It can be attacked by 3 bombers. We need an 11 total damage to destroy it. Its air-to-ground gives us a +1. It does have 2 rolls of flak with potentially 3 damage points. And it is a dispersed, which means we will be probably trying to use our M30s against it, which are free, so that's a benefit, but they are also a little bit harder to hit with. So that's our primary target. I am going to roll a recon mission against that one. We are also going to retarget this transportation railroad bridge in Algiers, which does get a +1 on the flak and a -2 air to ground, and it has light damage, but we are going to hit that with a recon, and I'm actually going to use my better recon because I have a really good one. You have 2 sides. This is the 8 one. This is the one I bought originally. So with a 4 to 7, it becomes medium, and an 8 or higher, it becomes high. So we're hoping to roll an 8 or higher. We rolled a 7. 7 is good enough to give us a medium, so these will go away, thankfully, and we'll just put a medium on there. Now I'll run the lighter recon, which is this guy right here, which means we need a 6 to 8 for medium and a 9 or higher for high. Anything 5 or less will be low, and we get a 9. So that is high, which is excellent, because high always gives you, as you can see here, +2 air to ground, -2 flak. So that is nice because this does have 3 levels of potential flak damage. That means that we cannot take 3 hits. They still get their 2 rolls, but they'll all have a DRM of -2 now. So that is awesome. All right, so that is our recon done. Now, if we were using weather, we'd roll for that, but we're not. So we've selected our targets. We're not going to delay mission execution. We're going to assign groups to each mission. So I am going to let my light guys, since I have 8 groups now and 1 fighter group. So our fighter group, the 78th, will be going along for our primary target, flying high escort as usual. We're going to let Misbehavin' be the lead group, the 379th. Our second group will be the Memphis Belle, so our 2 that are in the best shape, pretty much. Although the Grim Reaper is also pretty good. And we'll bring 1 of our B-24 groups. So we will bring Hitler's Hearse. Actually, no. We'll bring Lil Abner flying in the back. So that will be our mission for this first target. So as we saw in the previous turn, we're going to Lingen, which is here. So we're going to put our first leg will be there, and then our target, of course, is here. So there are 2 squadrons in here, so we are going to have at least 2 bandits, depending on what we roll for our Luftwaffe response. So we will do that now. Oh, our secondary mission will be the 305th, 309th, and the 306th. So that will be 2 B-17 groups. The Scarlet that we just purchased, the Grim Reaper, and Hitler's Hearse will be attacking the railroad bridge. We will purchase our bombs now. As I mentioned, we have 25 SO left. This is a dispersed target, so we will be using our M30s. Now that's this guy right here. As you can see, it gets a +2 DRM for a dispersed target, so that's good. And it takes 2 weight points, so our B-17s can carry 3 of them. So we will put 3 on the 379th, 3 of those. Then we will put another 3 on the Memphis Belle. And for Lil Abner, we're going to spend 3 SO and buy an M34 so that we can maybe pack a little extra punch there for Lil Abner. And then his other 2 will be M30s as well. So lots of M30s on this particular mission because of the dispersed nature and the fact that those are free. So we spend 3 SOs. Now that we've armed, we're not purchasing any equipment. We have commander tactics. The Misbehavin has Raper, who has a concentrate fire tactic, so that will be available to them as well. He also has an air-to-ground modifier of +2. The Memphis Belle, Ray, has an evasion tactic, so that will come in handy as well, potentially. That gives 2 rolls with no attack. So we will employ those once we get over target or are dealing with enemy fighters. All right, so let's roll for our Luftwaffe response here. See what Commander Schmidt has for us this turn. It's a 2, which is average. So average is 4 bandits and none out of adjacent hexes. So we're only going to deal with the 2 bandits here. So that's nice because we do have our fighter escort. That'll help a little bit. And so now we are ready to start our mission. Target bound event card. We get fleet resupply, which gains us 3 SO points. So I will note that down. Okay, so we'll move here. And nothing happens because they cannot sortie out of their adjacent hexes. And then we'll move here. And now we draw 2 bandits. So they're both from this hex. We'll draw them out one at a time. We get a Focke-Wulf. Focke-Wulf right there. It'll have 2 attacks. It's attacking. It has the forward attack tactic, which Schmidt does not have, so they cannot use it. So that is our first bandit. Our second bandit is a BF 110 that gets 3 attacks. Does not have a tactic, so that goes there. So our escort will take on the Focke-Wulf. And we'll roll for the BF 110 to see who he attacks. He gets a 9, and that is going to be the last group, so the 44th is who that one will attack. All right, so let's do turn number 1, because there is no turn 0 based on the fact that they don't have tactics they can employ. All right, so the 78th is taking on our Focke-Wulf 190 here. It gets 2 tries at this. He needs a 5 for 1 hit, a 7 for 2, and a 9 for 3. Gets a 5, that's 1. Second roll. Actually, I'm sorry. He gets a hit on the first one. So that will give the Thunderbolt group here 3 damage. He's okay through 5. So he's still okay. Now he gets to attack, and he gets a -1 for the Focke-Wulf's defense, but he gets a +4, so we get a +3, meaning we need a 7. And we got a 7, so he is destroyed. And that moves that up another 1. We get an extra experience point here as well for destroying that guy. Now we'll do the first turn of 3 for this BF 110 right here, where that is attacking the 44th. He needs a 7 for 1, 8 for 2, 10 is 3. Gets a 2, that is a miss on his first turn. Now the 44th will attack back. That gets a +1 air-to-air, so he needs a 9. But he does have a -1 defense, so he actually needs an 8. Gets a 3, so we go to round number 2. A 5 for the 110 is nothing. Now, and then he gets a 6, so that is also nothing. We go to the third and final round here. The 110 gets a 10, so that is 3 hits, 3 destroyed. And the 44th gets a 3, so that is nothing. This goes back in the cup. We're done, and we have to apply 3 damage to Lil Abner. So he goes from a 2 to a 5, which is pretty bad. But he's okay through 6. So we haven't reached shaken status, but that's still pretty rough. Okay, so now that we are over the target, these guys both will get flipped over so that they cannot attack again because they have to rearm. Now we're going to roll for our flak attacks. So here they get a -2 on their die roll for flak. They're going to hit the 379th first. They get 2 rolls rather with a -2. So they'll need a 9 for 1 hit and a 10 for 2 hits. So 7 is a miss. His second roll is a 7 again. So those both miss. Now the 379th will drop its bombs. It is carrying all M30s. So the M30 gets a D +2. The 379th adds a +1 to that. So we will need a 5. Oh, and you get a +1 from that as well. So we're looking at a +4. So we need a 4 for 1 hit and a 6 for 2 hits. A 4 is 1 hit. A 10 is 2 hits, so that's 3 total and 1 more bomb. A 7 is also 2 hits, so that is a total of 5 hits. So we've done 5 damage. Oh, and I forgot the +2 air to ground from the high intel. So that's 2, 3. The dispersed bombs makes it 5, and then the bomb groups makes it a +6. So that would actually end up being 6 hits. So it's actually 6 hits. Now it will attack the 91st. Gets a 4, which is nothing. And the second roll is a 3, which is also nothing. The 91st is also carrying M30. So again, we get a +6 total modifier. 1 is a 7. So that is not a hit. Second roll. 8 would be 2 hits. Third roll, 3 + 6 is 9. That would be 1 hit. So that is a total of 3 hits, making this a 9. And so we only need 2 more damage from our final bomber, which is the Lil Abner. Now he is carrying a Mark 34, an M34, rather. And so we'll roll for that first, but first we have to do our flak attack. First roll's a 2, so that's nothing. Second roll is a 9. Now a 9 minus, it's a -2, which gives us a 7, and a 7 is 1 damage. So he's now at 6. So that's as much as he can take. 1 more damage or destroyed bomber in his group, and he would be shaken. But he's going to drop his bombs, so we'll do the M34 first. That will give him a +0 from the aircraft, a +2 from here, and a +1. So he gets a +3 on his roll. And he rolls a 10, so that is going to be 4 hits with an M34. So that 4 hits would be 13. So this target has been destroyed. We'll draw our homeward bound event, which is a commander killed check. So after the mission, for each group or the commander that took damage, roll a die. On a 9-10, the commander is killed. In the second video, I actually screwed this up, and I rolled it for all the commanders, even ones that didn't take damage. So we know that the only one that actually took damage is Lil Abner. The fighter group, Thunderbolt, also took damage, but neither of those has a commander, so therefore we don't have to roll. So that took care of our commander kill check event, and we will return to base now. So we simply retrace our path. 1, 2. We don't have to roll because the Luftwaffe response was only average. And so that will finish that mission. Everybody receives 2 experience for this mission. Okay, so that airfield was worth 3 victory points. So that would advance this 3 places, but we're only going to move it to here and then reset to 0, and we're going to remove 1 squadron. And we will get our 3 victory points for that target. And now we will move on to setting up for our second mission. So we go back to our pre-flight where we will arm our bombers. So this target does not have dispersed. And we will be flying three squadrons at it, or three bomb groups. We will lead with the 306th, which is our new group. And we will follow that up with the 389th and the 305th. They will not have a fighter escort. They are going to Hex 9, which is right here. We're set up for that. We will roll for... Oh, we have to arm our bombers. So let's see. For this target with light damage, we replace this with a 2, because that is the level of damage to achieve light damage. And we will take... Well, we have 3 bombers. We can take with us 6, 12, 20 weight points. So Hitler's Hearse, I'm going to spend 6 SOs and buy 2 of the M34s. 2 M34s for Hitler's Hearse, which is our B-24. And hope that we can get a lot of hits with that one. For the Grim Reaper, we will just bring M30s. So we'll bring 2 of those because they're free. So that would be on the Grim Reaper, meaning we'll need an 8 for 1 hit and a 10 for 2 hits. And we'll spend 3 for some M43s here. We'll buy 3 of these for 3 SOs to put on Scarlet. We're spending 9 SOs here. 6 for the 2 M34s on Hitler's Hearse, the B-24s in the 389th group. And 3 more for the 306th with Scarlet. So that's a total of 9. That will leave us with 16 going into the next turn. And we're ready to go. So we'll roll for our Luftwaffe response. We get a 3, which is average. So that's a max of 4 bandits and 0 range, which means we're going to have no bandits. So we'll draw our event. It is weather updates. The weather in the target zone is worse than expected. Apply -2 air to ground. So I'm going to leave this out so I don't forget that we have to take a -2 air to ground modifier, which makes me wish I had spent more on some bombs with better possible hits. But the good news is we can get to our target without any issue. So now we're going to roll for flak. They get 2 rolls with a 6 for 1 hit and a 9 for 2. They will attack the 305th first. So a 5 is a miss and a 1 is a miss. So they miss both their flak. So I said 305th. It's actually the 306th. So this is Scarlet, which has the 3 M43s needing a 5 for 1 hit and a 7 for 2. But we're going to have a -2 air to ground modifier and another -1 for the bridge. So we're at a -3. And the 305th has a -1, which means it's a 4. So if we we need to roll a 9 just to get 1 hit. And we have 3 bombs, so we get 3 tries. We roll a 2. We roll a 5. And we roll a 1. So no hits. No hits for the 306th. That was pretty terrible. Now we'll roll our flak against the Grim Reaper, the 389th. This is Hitler's Hearse. This one's got a little bit of a better chance. It gets a +1 from its abilities. It's got an air to ground of +1. We get the same -3, so we get a -2 here. But we do have M34s, and we have 2 of those. So hopefully we'll get a good hit. So 5 -2 is a 3. That's 1 hit. A 1. So unfortunately, that's only 1 hit. So our 2 becomes a 3, which makes it medium damage. But I was really hoping not to have to run 3 missions against this target to knock it out. So now we have M30s, which need an 8, and we can't hit it because with this -2, that basically made it impossible with the 8 because we don't have a positive air-to-ground modifier for the group or for the leader. But we still have to roll the flak, so we get a 3, which is a miss, and we get a 4, which is also a miss. So fairly uneventful. We do end up with medium damage, thanks to getting 1 hit. So 3 bombers got 1 hit, thanks to our terrible event there. So now we will draw our outbound event. Bonus SO points. If the target was destroyed, it wasn't. Gain SO points victory equal to the victory points. So we don't get that either. So we're just going to go back. And that mission has been completed. So all 3 groups will get 1 XP for that. And we are left with medium damage on that target. So since this would be the end of the week, or actually this is the end of week 4. So we also have the end of the month checks to do. So there are no target repair rolls to do because we did attack that target this turn. So we don't have to worry about that. Add replenishment to rested groups. So our smaller aircraft, our medium bombers, the 321st and 322nd, both get 3 points back, which will put them both at full strength. The 321st was 2 damage, and the 322nd was 3. You get 3 back, so they are both at full strength again. Now we go to our monthly, the end of the month. Each secondary mission lasts 2 months, and this is only month 1. So if it was the end of the second month, we would have to evaluate our results, which so far have not been great. We did knock off 1. We have to knock off 5. So we would need to knock off 1 every week rather, of the next month, which is going to be difficult. We would get our new Luftwaffe squadrons, our Luftwaffe squadron theater deployment, the squadron map placement, build factories, etc. The Germans will get 2 new factories as we move to the new month, etc., etc. I'm going to wrap up the video here. If I decide to continue this with a 4th video, which is probably unlikely, to be honest, I would go through the full month end stuff. But because this video has gotten fairly long, I don't want to extend it too much. The sequence is fairly straightforward. You would draw your new Luftwaffe squadrons based on your supply points, which are 11. And I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we would be adding, I believe, 1 more. And placing it on the map. We would also check theater deployment for our med, and so, well, you roll on here, basically, with a modifier based on your German commander. His reserve focus, I think, is what that is, and that's a -1. And then we would also place new factories. So we would draw 2 new factories out for targets and apply their victory point supply markers to these 2 boxes right here. And all that would take place. We would check for the German commander being replaced. He's a 7+. So if we rolled a 7, 8, 9, or 10, he would be replaced. Anything 6 or less, he would remain the German commander through the next month. And well, if he had any technologies, which he does not, we would check for whether or not it actually would debut in that month, because it always debuts later. Then you would do reassignment checks. We do not have, I believe, oh, we do. We have Hitler's hearse we would have to roll for. If it rolled a 10, we would have to replace it. We would lose that squadron. It would be reassigned. We get our monthly replacement points, which for this campaign are 18. So you get 18 points here at the bottom that you can see right there by my thumb. That allows you to buy basically replacements for your squadrons that are damaged. We have 3 damaged on our fighter group. The 44th bomb group has 6 damage. The 389th has 2 damage. The 379th has 1 damage. And the 305th has 1 damage. That would be a total of 2, 4, 10, 13. So we would use 13 of our 18 points, and we would be able to reset all of our groups to full strength. Then we would get our 25 SO points for the first week of the next month, which would be July, and we would move on and progress our campaign in that way. So, as always, I do want to thank you for watching. Hopefully, this playthrough of an entire month of a campaign will prove worthwhile to you if you are trying to learn the game or thinking about purchasing the game or whatever. Or if you have the game and know how to play and just want to see somebody else play through, I think it maybe hopefully covered at least one of those three objectives for somebody. But I do appreciate you guys watching. As always, if you would consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing, that would be most appreciated by me. But even if not, feel free to comment, and I will do my best to reply. And hopefully you did enjoy the video. So that's going to do it. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. My name's Joe. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.